Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the main differences between Smite 1 and Smite 2. Going to be going down 3 different paths to talk about them. What is like the big difference between them, little things that kind of shift them from one side to the other, and just kind of talking about, you know, why I kind of like so far the direction that Smite 2 is going. To start it off, I want to make it clear, Smite 2 is not a great game yet. It is got a lot of stuff to change, a lot of stuff to improve on, skins, a bunch of different things that they need to improve. It's just right now you kind of see like those good bones and you see the potential of Smite 2. And that's kind of like the idea of what I'm focusing on. And if they improve on like the rough edges, obviously, I think the game is in a great direction. But starting with Smite 1, and like the biggest difference between Smite 1 and Smite 2 is Smite 1 is very defined in everything. There is defined god roles. You know, take warriors to solo, supports are guardians, mages in mid. It's very defined god roles. There are starter items for those roles. Mid laners build Sands. ADCs build Cowl, Death Toll. Solo laners build Axe and Bluestone. You very rarely venture outside of those starters. And then those starters kind of build into the exact same thing. Oh, if you're building Bluestone, if you're building it as a tank, you're building it around like Glad Shields and Breastplates, just a lot of cooldown. You're playing in ADC or mid lane, like with an Assassin. You're building, you know, Trans, Jotun, stuff like that. It's very defined in what those things are going to be bringing. And it's the same thing with like even Invader's Curse. Where am I going to be started because of Invader's Curse? I can't invade. My only option is starting this buff that spawns first. You can't start your wave because the wave spawns first. No, actually, buff spawns first. You have to start there. Can't start blue buff because blue buff doesn't spawn until a little bit after. The right back camps on your side of the map, or I shouldn't say right. The duo side back camps on your side of the map, back camps, because where the green buff used to be, they don't spawn until later, so you can't start those. There's very defined starting positions for where you want to be. And I think you can look towards Smite 2, where, for the most part, everything is open. If you have a really bad pushing lane, you could start your purple buff. Will you miss maybe a minion? Yeah, but you'll be able to at least drop that purple buff and get that level started. Maybe you want to have your support invade the enemy back camps. Maybe you want to have your mid laner not starting in mid. You want to have them helping your jungle clear. Like, there's so many different ideas for what you're going to be able to do, and I think that just opens up a lot of excitement for Smite 2. When I look back at Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4 worlds, the excitement for invades, the excitement for where gods are going to be played, I mean, I guess more towards Season 3, Season 4, the game became a little bit more defined, but Season 1, Season 2, where you're starting, what are you playing, where are you playing it, the game was very open-ended, and I think that was very exciting. Oh, Raw was picked? Raw used to be a solo laner way back in the day. Wouldn't that be cool to see a mage in solo lane because just what he's able to do over there? Beyond that, there's just a lot of set things in Smite that you can't really play around with. Defined build paths. Like, oh, if you go this item first, you kind of have to go this item, and then you kind of have to go this item. Oh, supports, they kind of have to go Thebes. Do I think the Nemes is a very powerful item in Smite 2, and it probably should be nerfed because I think it's just better than the other options? Probably. Is there potential for others to be bought, or if they buff others? Absolutely. Do supports need to start Sentinels or Warflag or Benevolence? No, there's actually nothing for them to start. They can actually start a little bit of damage if they want to help clear. I think that's exciting. And speaking on items, that brings me to the second point that I think is very different than Smite 2 with Smite 1, and it's the stores. The item stores are just night and day different. Smite 1 stores, very easy to kind of build into something. The items do very specific things, very like set things. If you're building into Deathbringer, you're building into a crit build. If you're building into kin size, you're really not building crit that much. If you're playing a mage, a lot of times you want book because it's just the best item in the game. There's not like other items that really contest with it because it's just the most power you can get. Do more. Oh, it's just the best item in the game now because it's now cheap. It gives a lot of power. It gives a good flat pen. The Smite 2 store kind of opens up this new idea of power spikes where this matchup I don't want to have to worry about building into a full item, but you know, I can't ignore them completely. I'm going to build this tier 1 to give me a few protections so I can kind of mitigate a little bit of it and then shift it to a different direction where they're magical or they're intelligence-heavy jungler or intelligence-heavy mid laner, or maybe their support has been rotating a lot. I'm more worried about that intelligence. I'm going to build to protect against that. That's interesting. I think that is very cool. Smite 1, I said this in the last video or Monday or Tuesday's video that, like, you know, if you're building into that tier 2, you might as well build into the tier 3. The tier 2s are so weak. The tier 3s are so powerful. That feels different in Smite 2. It feels like you can kind of hold that tier 2 because of how much you're actually getting from it and how, you know, either inexpensive it is or just how valuable it is at that spot. I think that is very cool. And my word that the Smite 2 store will be a little bit harder to grasp for newer players. Kind of. But then games like League, Dota, way more depth. Dota has way more depth in it. And players are still kind of drawn to that. I think it's fine. I think anything to open up that top level, and I think that's what the Smite 2 store does. And then the last thing that kind of separates Smite 2 and Smite 1. Smite 1 is just very limited in a lot of the things I can do. I know I've seen a bunch of takes that Smite 1 should be just upgraded to the Smite or to the Unreal Engine 5, and then that should be Smite 2, and that's literally all the changes they should do. I think, and I've spoken to a lot of pro players about this, and a lot of, I mean, even people in my chat, that Smite 1 doesn't feel all that great to play anymore. The game just doesn't feel as magical as it used to. And yes, maybe we could be getting older, cynical. The game maybe is just wearing on us a little bit. But I think maybe that's speaking about just like the direction that Smite 1 went, that it's just not in that fun direction anymore. During the patch notes show, right before it started, Kurt and I were watching old Rat clips. Bro, old Rat was one of the most exciting gods they've added. It was so much fun, the different ways to play him. Was he insanely good? And that's probably part of the reason. Yes, but no god played like old Rat. You look at a lot of the current gods, they play rather similar. I mean, you look towards Nut. Is it rather similar? It has like its own niche that like other gods don't really fill. I mean, kind of, but like not really. She kind of plays like Rama. Pretty good early game. Solid 1v1 character. Decently safe. Relies on the ultimate to get into the back line. Also for a little bit of safety. I mean, she isn't that new, and I think that's a partial issue with the characters in Smite are very limited with the Unreal Engine 3. I think with Unreal Engine 5 they should open it up a little bit, allow characters to try more funky things, allow a hunter that maybe is melee ranged, or the more autos he hits, the more autos he slowly, or the range he slowly gets, like Senna in League. Something like that I think would be really exciting, just switching up how the character plays. Bring back power spikes to the game. There is no early game characters and late game characters anymore in Smite. You could say, oh, this character is really good early, doesn't really do that much late. I mean, maybe they're better early, but they're still pretty darn good late. Gods like Kali used to be really bad early, really good late. Now she's actually decent early, decent middle, and decent late. She's just meh at all points. Gods like Erlang used to be really insane early game, kind of fall off towards the late game. Erlang's now just really good at all points, in my opinion. I think with Smite 2, they should kind of focus on what's this god's strength going to be? How are they going to play? When are they going to be strong? Is it fine to have characters that are good at all points? Absolutely, yes. That's not an issue. But there should 100% be characters that are good early and are bad late, and also characters that are bad early and scale into the late game. I think that'd be very good. I mean, we can even think about a god like Kronos. I think Kronos is best in the mid game right now because he doesn't get one shot when he goes to that late game. Is he still going to be good late? Absolutely, but I think his strength lies in that 20-minute mark where he's getting a lot of value from his passive, but he's also not getting one shot by 3k pots. That's my opinion of the big differences between Smite 1 and Smite 2. Let me know down below, what do you guys view as like the biggest differences, and do you like the direction of Smite 2 so far versus Smite 1? And just like a little question kind of paired onto that one, do you guys enjoy Smite 1 right now? Is it something that you can look forward to playing and being like, I can't wait to play Smite today? I'm kind of in like a meh spot right now with it, I'll be honest. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you guys again next time. Peace.